I think success is not getting caught up in other people's expectations.
No.
No?
I've been doing stand-up since 2009, so it goes without saying that I love both of you.
Oh,
so
thank you
very much.
very much.
Jim, first question, where can I get my hands on one of those butt roller machines?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, you know what's weird? I would sit there and do the scene, and then my butt would be numb.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you
it
never
was weird.
mentioned that.
And I was like,
He's a trooper.
I was just like, is it? You know, like, so when I think we'd get it, and then we're like, all right, we're gonna do another. I'm like, I don't know, I think this is hurting my butt.
So it's not as nice as it looks on screen.
It's just, it's about the sacrifice I do for my art.
Had you ever seen one of those before?
No, I hadn't, and
It's
I
the
was
real
like,
thing.
what is that?
It's
That
real.
was
That's a 50s fitness piece of equipment.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole movie, the detail is incredible. I loved it.
Thanks.
What I wanted to ask you specifically was, like, directing yourself seems like such a feat. What scene was the most challenging for you to both direct and act in at the same time?
None of them. They were all. I mean, I found the insurrection to be the most difficult because I don't know how to talk to 80 people.
Yeah.
Even though we do that for a living.
Yeah.
But that's when the first AD will really help you. I go, I need this to be more chaotic, or let's jam in. And then you have a director of photography who's also helping you with the angle and the frame. And so you have tons of help. But that was the most difficult thing for me because I'm not used to making anything. On the TV series, we never made anything of that size with a gang.
Speaking of, I'm glad you brought that up because that is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, just a big riot with breakfast cereal mascots. So I wanted to ask you guys, what breakfast cereal mascot do you most want to punch in the face?
Oh.
Breakfast cereal mascot. I like them all. Most of the sports mascots I do not like.
Yeah.
But breakfast cereal mascots, they're not so intrusive.
That rabbit that's on Trix.
See, I
You
felt
don't like
bad
the
for the
rabbit?
rabbit. I always felt bad for him
Trix
because he
rabbit?
never
That's 'cause
got
you're
the
weak.
cereal.
That's because
Yeah,
you're weak and you
that's true.
don't. That rabbit's asking for it, you know?
He would take the cereal from the kids.
That's like, you know, all you need is 3 bad guys and you take down that rabbit.
No, for me it
Tricks
would be
for
the
kids.
Lucky Charms Leprechaun, obviously.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Yeah.
he ruined my childhood,
Right.
so I hated that guy. The cameos in this movie are some of the best cameos I've ever seen in any movie. Was there
Thanks.
ever any point when you were discussing, like, using some of your Seinfeld co-stars to bring them in?
Yes, there were some conversations, but we didn't want it to be people to think that it's a Seinfeld reunion. So
So you felt like it was distracting?
yeah, we thought it might be distracting.
Speaking of Seinfeld, I do want to ask you, as a fellow stand-up comic, where do you think fictional Seinfeld is doing stand-up today? Do you think he's, like, really hit the big time, or do you think that he's, you know, doing cruise ships?
What would he be doing today?
Yeah, stand-up wise, where's
That's
he
a
doing
great
stand-up?
question. No one's ever asked me that. So you don't think it'd be possible for him to get a show like I did?
I don't know.
If I got a show, why couldn't he get a show? We have it's the same guy.
Yeah, it's fictional, so why wouldn't you want him to be as
Now it's
successful
turning
as
into a
possible?
Christopher Nolan film. No,
Well, he did get a series,
Yeah,
or he
he
got a
did.
pilot,
Yeah.
Jerry,
well, I
which
think
didn't work. Then NBC didn't pick it up.
But a lot of people get a lot of pilots. I think that, you know, it's none of my business, but I think that he's successful. I think that if, you know, like comedians being able to work beyond a decade or two is relatively rare. So I think that he probably has it. I mean, you're still relevant. People still go to shows. So I would think that, considering it's the same guy,
Yeah. Let's give
Look,
him a
as
shot.
long as
Yeah.
we're doing what we love, we're successful, right?
I think
Yeah,
so.
right.
No.
I mean, I only have one car, but no, never mind.
Well, you know,
You
but
have
to
to
your
make a
point-
living at it, don't you?
But no, well, success is relative, right? I think success is not getting caught up in other people's expectations.
No.
No? No.
That's a good approach. That's a successful approach,
Yes.
but it's not success.
But success is relative, though, right? Because there could be like, success could be making a living, or success could be having a gazillion.
No, it's like I've made
making
a
a-
living, but I only have 3 bedrooms in my house. So
Right.
Okay, so you're doing well.
I'm doing okay.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
But
how
like
would you define success?
5 bedrooms.
5 bedrooms.
Yeah.
What's the extra 2? What's the difference? They're all bedrooms are the same.
I don't know. That's just where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Once I get 5, it'll probably be 7. Who knows? Yeah. I want to tell you, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the riot with the breakfast cereal mascots.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not in that one.
so which breakfast cereal mascot would you most want to punch in the face?
Oh my god. Wow, you know.
Count Chocula.
I'm gonna be honest.
Why
That's
Count
not.
Chocula?
Because I don't like counting. I don't like math.
That's fair.
I don't want
I
to
get it,
think
yeah.
about
You're
things.
right.
So I feel like Count Chocula, take it somewhere else.
That's a good
you
answer.
know?
Sarah had
Yeah.
a good answer.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Michael Jordan, you know, what is he, Wheaties or something?
You want to punch Michael Jordan
no,
in the
I don't
face?
really. I just
I
that's the
actually
one
want to
thing
see
that.
Christian Slater punch Michael
Who
Jordan.
doesn't want to see that?
That's a
See, I
controversial
knew it
take,
would just
Christian.
be. I know something would happen there.
That one stopped me. I'm not.
I could
I'm
only
not at that
picture
place
people
in
on
my
the
life.
Wheaties boxes. That's all I could do.
Nobody, there's no breakfast mascot.
I'm not in that place
just-
in my life where I want to.
That's
I
really-
I
you're such a
actively want to.
pacifist.
Yeah.
I feel very good about myself because I feel if
Oh,
I
ouch.
was attacking,
We don't.
if I was
Yeah, we don't
attacking
feel good about ourselves.
a mascot, it would be more about me and not about them.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I
Fair.
understand. For me, it would be the Lucky Charms leprechaun because look at me, he ruined my childhood. So
Oh.
I would just
Yeah, but see, you have a
Yeah,
connection
exactly.
there. I don't have that.
No.
Yeah, there's
He is kind of
resentment.
mean though too. Like, stay away from me, Lucky Charms. You
You're
know,
right,
he's
he's so
just very
selfish.
selfish.
Yeah. Silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
Oh, that
I feel
guy's
bad
a-
for him.
that guy's an
I
asshole.
wouldn't.
He's-
I wouldn't punch him.
Yeah,
Why?
no?
Yeah.
Pathetic.
He's,
Because he can't even eat his own cereal. You know,
Silly
he can't even get
rabbit
his
tricks are
hands
for
on it.
kids. He never got the
That's
cereal.
true. You're right.
Oh,
That's
man.
So
I always
sad.
felt
Yeah,
bad for
I don't want to punch him. I want to hug him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know. So, what's the energy like on a Jerry Seinfeld set? Like, is it fun and relaxed, or is it like Christopher Nolan? You're not allowed to sit down. Like, what's it like?
Surprisingly, very tense.
Very tense.
Very, very tense. I was like, wow. All right, this guy runs a tight ship. No, it was great. It was great. But, you know, he wrote the script. He's a very, you know, you got to say it the way, because that's the funny thing. And, you know, each word, you know how he is. He's like, he's meticulous.
And also,
Thank
you
you.
want to please him because, you know, when you write something, you have an
Jerry
idea
Seinfeld.
of
Yeah.
how it should be said. And if you don't say it that way, you feel bad. But
Right.
I think that he loosened up. I think he
Oh,
did loosen up.
for sure.
There was one, when we did the banquet scene, there was one take where Jerry took a sip of water and then he sprayed everyone around the table. He just went like a sprinkler. And it was so funny. Didn't make it in the movie, but it was so
Oh.
funny. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
See,
guys-
I worked with him in the first week or so.
Yeah.
So, by you know, in the first week, he hadn't loosened up yet.
Also, what a bragging right to be able to say Jerry Seinfeld spit on me.
It was. It's a
That's
day that is
cool.
on my calendar, and I just will never
I'm
forget
gonna have to
it.
ask him when I go interview him. I'll be like, "Will you spray water on me so I can join this?"
Do it. It's
elite
like
club?"
nothing else you will ever experience.
Christian, I didn't get to ask you this yesterday, but I wanted to tell you, True Romance is one of my favorite movies
Oh,
of all
thanks.
time.
Thank you.
And you filmed 2 endings for that, and I've always been curious, personally speaking, which ending do you prefer?
Oh, I think I prefer the one that they went with. I like living.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was the way to go.
There was a dying ending.
Yeah.
Oh, I would
Clarence
not have
was-
liked. I would not have liked
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So we actually, we went back and reshot it, and so.
Oh, you went back to reshoot one where you were alive.
Yeah.
I think that's a testament to you because everybody fell in love with you in that movie.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
And now, with that ending, we could see like one of those sequels where like, you just got an eye patch now, and it's
That'd be pretty cool.
it's great.
Right?
See
Yeah.
what
Right,
Grown Up Elvis is doing.
Yeah. See what grown up Elvis is doing. See what Alabama is.
Max, I want to ask you: have we not got a new girl reunion yet, simply because Jake Johnson is Spider-Man now?
It hasn't been that long. I think people are rushing to do these reunions. And I think, what did we wrap that show like 6 years ago? 7 years?
Well, every 7 years you're a new person, so that's.
I think we're gonna wait. I think we're gonna wait on it.
Okay, just tease everybody.
Well, we're all excited,
So-
and we want it to happen.
Yeah.
I know it. I
mean,
know it. When Liz Merriweather, who created the show, when she has an idea or a script or a way to do it, I'm in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But I think it's on her. I don't think it's on Jake and his Spider-Man schedule. I think it's more on
Is he really
Liz.
Spider-Man?
He is Spider-Man.
Yeah, what's
He's in
happening?
real life.
He's a great Spider-Man.
In real life.
Yeah.
He does the
In real life.
no, he does Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh.
Yeah, he's Spider-Man in that.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. He's great in that. Yeah. I love it.
Spike, it's nice to meet you, man. I'm actually here in New York right now doing the junket in person. You're the only virtual one that I've got.
Oh, cool. Are you having
So-
fun?
Oh man, the movie's a blast. I loved it so much. I actually have a 16-year-old son, And I was telling him last night that I was like, it feels like a movie that we don't really get anymore. I described it, I was like, it's like Austin Powers, but less horny. I love it, dude. It's, yeah. So first question, which Pop-Tart flavor do you love so much that you would eat it out of a dumpster?
Oh, blueberry, for sure, but frosted. I prefer my Pop-Tarts frosted.
I'm with you, man. I don't naked Pop-Tarts are weird to me. I don't understand how anybody likes them. I feel like you have to be a certain age to really appreciate like unfrosted Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Now, exactly how much research goes into a completely fictionalized true story?
A lot, actually. I mean, from the very beginning, we were researching this story and the characters, and a fellow by the name of Bill Post, who claimed to be the father of the Pop-Tart, or at least the internet claimed. And we would run this story upside down, and at the end of the day, we thought it's compelling in a right stuff sort of way. The simple piece of it, Post came up with the idea first, and Kellogg's had 6 months. Which is, now you've got steaks, the breakfast table, America's breakfast table is at stake. You've got time, a ticking clock. You've only got 6 months. So we knew there's the spine of your movie. The rest wasn't very interesting at all, except that Post couldn't get their product out of the lab. Occasionally it would catch fire when it toasted. There were interesting little things that we did put into the movie. But the rest of it, we thought, well, let's Seinfeldize this. In other words, let's do what we did with the Yankees on Seinfeld or Tyson Chicken on Seinfeld, and let's just make it funny. And let's tell the story that we want to tell. And here we are.
Now, the attention to detail for the 1960s is so good in this movie. I was very impressed. Roughly how many of the cars on set are owned by Jerry?
None. Zero. I think he brought one car to set to put it in there, but in Battle Creek, Michigan, there weren't many Porsches. Now, if you look, you will see Porsches and Carmen Gias, and I think a Jaguar, and he and I were talking to our car buddies by putting those things in there. But at the end of the day, we never really got the other ones in. But our prop department was amazing. We loved going to this place and working with these ladies who ran props, because they tracked down everything from the early 60s that we remembered that when we were kids, from toys to products. If we couldn't find it, they would make it. They were making Schwinn bicycles at one point.
No, Jerry confirmed to me that the butt rolling machine is a real thing, which I had no idea, because I was like, that looks great, but I didn't know it was real.
Yeah, I didn't either. And when he suggested it in the writing session, I said, no, I don't understand what that is. And he goes, no, it's a real thing. And I go, no, it's not. And so I went through that same thing with him. And I went, all right, yeah, I guess if there's a precedent for it, we'll put it in. But it's funny that you picked up on that. The story that we're telling isn't all that accurate, but everything in the movie is.
I think that adds to the authenticity of the fake story that you're telling, which I love that about it. One thing that was so authentic and amazingly recreated was the Johnny Carson scene. Did Jerry reflect or share any stories about his time with Carson when you guys were working on that scene?
He's shared stories with us before about what it's like, but the real kind of quandary we had was, do we deep fake every person who's in the movie that's from the old times, Forrest Gump in tone? Do we update that kind of effect, Walter Cronkite, Johnny Carson? Or do we cast those parts with people and make them funny? When we started doing deep fake tests, we started to learn that the character became less funny. There was something about the AI, the visual effect, that took our comedic actors' ability to make the lines funny. It was a really interesting process. So, with Walter Cronkite, for example, we hired Bill Corso, a famous old Hollywood visual makeup person. He gave us we said, here's Kyle Donegan, who's one of the funniest people we know and can do Cronkite's voice. Can you make him look something like Walter Cronkite, knowing that most people might not remember him if they're under 40, 50 years old? And then with Johnny Carson, since it, at one point it was at the beginning of the movie and now it's at the end, we thought, well, why not put Jerry Seinfeld and Johnny Carson deep fake together? Now that's also Kyle Donegan's voice doing Johnny Carson there. And that effect, for some reason, that face replacement worked.
Yeah.
And I think it was because we did a standard definition effect on it instead of a 4K effect on it. So it looked like it was being broadcast in 63. And
Oh, that's so cool.
and we just thought, isn't that cool? Look, there's Jerry in New York with Johnny Carson back in the day, as if it would have happened if, you know.
Well, also, I mean, Carson has been spoofed so many times, like on SNL and stuff like that too. So
Right.
I think that like helps. I didn't know that it was a deep fake at first. I saw that in another interview. I thought you guys had really Forrest Gumped Jerry into the frame. That's
Wow,
what I thought was going on when I originally watched it.
That's a very nice compliment.
Now,
we had an incredible visual effects team, but also Kyle Donegan said, I remember going, I don't want to do anything that Carvey did or anybody else on SNL doing this part. So I want to find lines and things that Carvey won't call me up and go, hey, I did that already. Well, isn't that something, you know?
One of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is the insurrection scene with the mascots.
Right.
So I was curious, which breakfast cereal mascot would you most want to punch in the face?
Oh, who would I want to punch the most from
I know, because I know you had to have some breakfast cereal mascots that annoyed you as a kid.
Yeah. Captain Crunch annoyed me a little bit. I really loved Quisp, I think the most, one of the most uncelebrated breakfast mascots. But there was something about Captain Crunch, and definitely any of the mascots from like 2000 on all don't feel right to me. Like
No, they're weird now. Like the Cinnamon
Yeah.
Toast Crunch. I was just telling my buddy, like they eat each other.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
that seems weird. It's like cannibalistic. Why are they doing that?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I don't want to get too much on that tangent. I did want to you wrote, one of the most iconic Seinfeld bits ever with Soup Nazi. Did the popularity of that episode ever get so big that it made you hesitant to order soup in public?
No. Why? Nobody knows it's me who wrote it. It made me hesitant to ever go back there just in case someone said that's the guy who wrote it, because the real guy in New York was not happy that we wrote that episode. He really was not. You know the story, right? Yeah. The next summer I brought Jerry back there and he said, hey, he goes, I'd like to order soup. And he goes, get the F out of here. And threw him
No, I don't know that story.
Soup line. Yeah. It was on the front page of the New York Post the next day. Real Soup Nazi throws Jerry out of the line. He goes, what's the problem? I made you famous. And he said, you didn't make me famous. The Today Show made me famous. And he said, well, I want soup. And then he literally said a version of no soup for you with a lot of expletives. No effing soup for you. Get the F out of here. And Jerry was not allowed to get soup. And I went to
Wow.
Jerry. I told you.
I wonder how that guy's doing these days. I wonder if he's happy.
Sure, he's not.
Last question for you before I get out of here, and thank you so much for your time. And again, I really love the movie. I'm excited for everybody to see it. Was there any pushback at all from Kellogg's or Post on this? Because obviously, them and their mascots are all over the place. So
Right. No, they didn't know about it until a couple weeks ago. I'm not joking. This was not an origin movie. We never set out to make an origin movie. We set out to make a supersized Seinfeld episode with a bigger budget and a bigger cast. And Kellogg's just found out about it last week, and thank God they're delighted. But
good. So there was no conversation about possible legalities or anything like
no
that.
Cease and desist. There hasn't been any of that, and we are so grateful to Netflix for letting us do this, because a movie like this wouldn't. I still don't know how it got made, because Kellogg's is not the only brand mentioned, as you know. There's about 100 in this movie, and Kellogg said, "Go ahead and do it. Go do it. Have some fun."